It's a pleasure to be here, and it's great to have you with us, Mr. Singh. We're here to reflect on the past and project on what is going to happen in the future. And the question of what retail investors are doing is a really important question. Because if you look at the financial markets in the past, it quite often used to happen that retail investors would come in at the very peak. When the bull market is about to come, they would have suddenly come inside, they were taking tips, and then the markets would crash and they would lose their money, and then the cycle would be repeated. Now it seems very different. We're hearing SIPs, we're hearing mutual funds, we're hearing retail investors putting their money into the market from the point of view of long-term investment, planning for their retirement, planning for weddings, planning for the future. Is that what you're seeing? Is it different this time?
Sometimes we see only the rosy picture, but some things we miss out. The thing is, yes, people are behaving in a very, very matured manner. But at the same time, this maturity is also becoming a pain for us for the simple reason, because people have been saying that market is at peak for the last 2 years. So they have not been able to participate in the market with the numbers that they could have been. They have lost out on this thing. Of course, it's not that Indians have not made money, others have made money. But I think some exuberant, some more aggression is required for India, because we are really, really in a very, very sweet spot. When we talk about the SIP numbers like 18,000 crores, very, very good numbers. But when we look at the net numbers which are coming into the market, 18,000 crore multiplied by 10 as of now, we should have been in mutual fund industry 1,80,000 crore plus lump sum money. But the actual numbers are less than that. So that's an issue. But yes, there's a shift. The matured people, they are the older people, they are booking profits also, but the youngsters are coming in a big way. That's a very, very big theme which is going to happen. And I think this 18,000 crore will become 25,000 crore very soon. And we will see that people come into the markets in a big way.
Would it be correct to say that for a first time, it's inflows from within the country? For a long time, again, if we reflect on the past to project for the future, in the past, it used to be happen that Indian stock markets would depend on what the FIIs are doing. When the foreigners are coming, putting money in, markets will rise. When the foreigners are pulling money out, the markets would fall. Now the markets seem to be rising on the strength of domestic money, Indian money, and increasingly retail money. Do you think that's a trend that is now there to be seen?
No, that is definitely a trend, because there are structural changes. We are getting almost $2 billion kind of net flow in the markets. I'm not talking only about mutual funds. If you look at the EPFO putting every month almost $300 to $400 million, almost 3,000 to 4,000 crore rupees into the markets. The other insurance company, the other provident funds, because every provident fund is putting in 15%. And with the incomes rising, that 50% money is also rising. Plus the mutual fund flows. I think with the kind of depth we have, with the kind of market capitalization we have, so this kind of money is a very healthy money. But at the same time, with the new corporates coming, every day we see 2-3 IPOs coming, the breadth of the listed companies will grow and more people will come. I think next decade belongs to India in the capital markets of the world.
So coming back to changing behaviors and changing patterns, in the past, how did Indians save? Through all of history, bhai gold kharid lo. Or agar gold nahi kharidna hai, then take the cash and put it under your mattress. Yeah. Now after demonetization, hopefully fewer people are taking cash and putting it under the mattress. It's a risky thing. Maybe they'd buy real estate. At a pinch, they'd save fixed deposits. Financial assets lena chahiye, so we'll go into some fixed deposits. Yeah. Is that changing now? That the real returns are in equity, long-term capital and wealth can be made from equity. So let's put 10, 15, 20, 30, 40% of our money into equity.
That definitely is a trend. You talk to anyone in India, anybody who is having some surplus money, they are definitely either doing SIPs or putting some money in the markets. If you look at the data also, 6 years ago, mutual fund AUMs were 10% of the total bank deposits. Today it has become almost 25% of the bank deposits. So that's something which is very, very big trend. Today, when the total deposits of banking industry are 200 lakh crores plus, the mutual fund itself is around 51 lakh crores, which is 25%. So that itself, the data itself shows that more and more people are coming into the mutual funds, more and more people are coming into the equity markets. Of course, talking about the new number of DMATs which are coming in a big way. So that's another story. We should see only the good part of it, because DMATs are sometimes open in a way which are highly inactive. We should actually look at the active DMATs and how people are putting in money. And the only worrisome part is the youngsters who have been putting money in the equities. They have seen only one side of, whosoever has started putting money for last 4 or 5 years, they have seen only one side of the market. They have not seen corrections, etc. And sometimes they are using equity markets as savings bank account also. Keep on putting SIPs, keep on putting money in SIPs, and whenever you need it, you draw the money. So then they don't get the benefit of averaging. So today, on the one side, we are saying that it's a very, very good, we are in sweet spot. And on the other side, the people like you, people like Vion, have to do lot of education. We as the manufacturers and media, we all have the responsibility to teach people how to invest, how to remain disciplined. But overall, things are very, very good.
So let's take that point which you were just referring to, the task of education.
Yes.
Because as people start to shift their money from FDs to putting the money into equity, they need to realize that, as you were just now saying, it's a different thing, it's a different beast. You shouldn't be trading. You have to be prepared for the fact that there will be down years. There will be times when it'll go up 40%, but there will be times when will go down 30%.
Yeah.
So if you need money definitely in 2025 for your daughter's wedding or your son's wedding, then maybe you should have a certain percentage and something else.
Absolutely.
What is the advice you would give to small investors particularly at a time when the markets are already close to an all-time high? What is the advice you would give them?
No, my appeal to these investors will be, continue putting money in a disciplined manner through SIP mode, but link every SIP to an objective. And then don't leave the objective, don't get into it, don't dip into it whenever you need money. That is some trend which is not good, and that's what we have to tell people. Remain disciplined, remain there for whatever period you have thought while starting the money, and step up your SIP amount. This is another mistake people generally do when they start with 10,000, 20,000, 50,000. With the increase, with the wealth increasing every year, with these incomes increasing every year, they don't step up the amount of investments. So what happens? The value of money keeps on coming down. So that's another thing. But I'm telling you, I mean, more and more people are getting educated. There's a number which is showing that the number of step-up SIPs are increasing. But again, educating. At the time when markets are doing very well, it's very necessary. There are so many people not only talking about the sweet spot, not only talking about everything good is happening. For that, our Prime Minister is good enough. He tells us everything. I listen to his speech every day. I don't need to read anything else, because he is something if you look at yesterday's speech, he has covered almost all the things which we have been talking in every conference, every whatever platform is there. But thing is, keeping very close grip on the investors, so that they don't burn their fingers in a big way whenever there is a correction happening. I feel that is the maturity, that is the responsibility which we all have to be, and we have to actually think about the future trends. Today we are talking everybody about energy, about green energy. These are the trends, and this is the same way as we were talking about IT, we were talking about financial sector. Now it's the time of energy and green revolution, and see all those things. So we need to, in the manufacturing side, we need to look at it, how we get people's money into these sectors so that they get more and more.
That's presumably the reason you've just launched an energy fund, right?
Yeah. No, that was absolutely coincidental. We had a lot of research. We worked for 3-4 months. And honestly speaking, it was absolutely incidental that we launched the fund, and the same day energy week was launched on the same day. But we have seen lot of interest. I mean, please forgive me. Don't take it as a sales pitch or something why I'm talking about. But there are some stories which teach you so many things. Yesterday there was one NRI who came from USA, and he wanted to put some couple of, a big money, double-digit crore of rupees in this NFO. So our relationship manager was telling, sir, it's don't put together. We can do 50% now, 50% later. We'll do the systematic transfer. And this is the first day, you will put the last day, because today is the first day. It will be better if you put on the last day. But I was saying, look, I've come from USA. I have seen what self-sufficiency of energy can do to the country. I'm very gung-ho about India. And I want to put in money today on the first day itself. And he put in he forced our people to get the application on that day. That's the kind of confidence. But we sometimes we have been taught 60+% don't give him too much equity, don't give him this, don't give. But today we are having, when 80 years person comes and say, put my money into an aggressive fund because this money doesn't belong to me. This is next generation money. Let me create wealth for my next money. So definitions are changing. These stories are coming in a big way. People are coming with, and especially the NRIs. They are much more confident about India than the Indian itself.
So, that's the question sometimes when I'm sure you're asked this question all the time, when you go out, you meet people in the public, they're quite often saying, we believe that we should be investing in equity, but have we missed the bus? 2020, if you think about it, at the time of the crash, where was the Sensex? It's up now. Sensex is 71,000, Nifty is 21,000. Have we missed most of it? Now, maybe there'll be corrections, but is the answer to that, if the Indian economy is going to grow at 6-7%, and if then you add inflation to that, corporate earnings are going to go to 12%, 13%. So whichever way you look at it, you could maybe get it wrong in some stocks, but overall, you should get 12 to 15% returns for the next 5 years, 7 years, Definitely. Which means you'll double your money within 7 years.
Definitely. I'm 100% sure that, people have to bring down their aspirations, because once they look at 30, 40, 50% return in 1 year, they feel that this is the market which will keep on giving this kind of returns. The aspiration should be good double-digit returns. What you are saying is 12 to 15% is the best expectation one should have. That is number one. And number two, see, the number is a number, whether it is 21,000 or 22,000. There's a huge opportunity still available. If we talk about the energy sector itself, this is at 25% discount to the overall market. So there will always be opportunities. You look at what is happening to public sector space during the last 2-3 months. Because look at the public sector banks, how they are behaving today. Reason being, there's a catch-up story. There are always stocks which are available at good value. And especially the mutual funds, they do a lot of research. They have very strong research teams, and they keep on getting the good value to the investors. That's my point.
A couple of other, before we go, the sort of structural changes that they're having, that are happening around us. There are a lot of people, for example, who are starting to question PMS schemes and AIF schemes, because they are there, but quite often you're paying higher fees, 220, you're locking in your money for a long period of time. And there's a certain view which is coming, not just in India, but around the world, that maybe simple, plain vanilla mutual funds or plain vanilla ETFs as you have abroad are a better and a more right way to go, because it's lower fees and liquid, easier to cash out. Why do you need to pay those extra fees?
See, as I was listening to Madhusudan, you take about any sector, there's a market in India. The same is true for the capital markets also, the mutual funds also. There's a big niche of people who have yet to start their investing journey. For them, the plain vanilla, low-cost products are very good to start the journey. But there are people who are having a very high risk appetite, and they are ready to pay higher fee but take higher risks also, which is less regulated, but you can take risks. So there's enough money to be made in AIF, there's enough money to be made in PMSs. You can't have one rule for everybody. See, if my net worth is, say, 20 crores, my investable is 20 crores. Why can't I have 5 crores in a high risk fund where I am likely to get good returns? And there are instances where people have shown, but just having PMS or just having AIF for the heck of it is not right. Sometimes people have this tendency also. I mean, the mutual funds is a fellow class also, mutual fund. Why should I? Because मैं तो white collar हूँ, मेरे पास तो इतना पैसा है, मैं क्यों लूँ इसमें mutual fund में? That is not correct. But at the same time, PMS, AIF, there's a big market, and see, AIFs, we can do so many things. Now, in private equity, there's so much space. And when the simple products, we can go only into the listed space. But there's so much money to be made in the private equity side. There's so much money to be made in other areas. So I don't think it's right to say that the simple products are okay. We should not have PMSAF. We have enough market for all the products.
All right, sir. Then one last question to ask you. If you had to look ahead to 2030 and people watching this here and on air, what would be your projection? What sort of a market cap, what sort of a Sensex, Nifty should they be looking at, let's say, in 2030? And the corollary to that, what percentage of their money should be in equity?
See, second question first, what percentage of the money depends upon individual. Every individual is a different organization. So if you ask me today, when I am at this stage of life, my 100% is into equities. Because once you are done with your house, your normal deals, you are having sufficient cash inflows which are visible for next 5-10 years, I don't think anybody should not be in equities. But at the same time, if a general rule you ask me, I think minimum 15 to 20% of everybody should be in equities. That is for sure. And the second part, the 2030, I'm sure this will give the definitely good double-digit return. People at CAGR 15 to 20% will come. But this Nifty 50 will not be Nifty 50. This will be maybe 100 or 200 stocks Sensex. But the names of the companies will be totally different. The new businesses which are coming, the businesses which will grow, maybe if you look at last 15 years also, so many companies which were there, 60-70% companies, are not there in this Sensex now. So new businesses are coming, new themes are coming, and today when we are launching a new thought kind of schemes, the idea is that only, to get into the tomorrow's futuristic sectors much in advance so that we can create alpha, we can create good value for the investors.
All right, that's a great vision to look forward to. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. DP Singh, please put your hands together.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Lovely talking.